Welcome back to Play On Gamers, the podcast where we talk endlessly about video games. Here with my partner in crime and one of my best friends, Ben Silverman. Ben, how's it going, buddy?
We're going to keep it under 2 hours tonight.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this ahead of time. We started this podcast like right at E3.
Yeah.
So there's an abundance to talk about, which is awesome, but not great for our schedule.
Yes.
This time we're actually starting later, but hopefully we finish a little earlier in the night. So we're going to try to go an hour this time.
We do have day jobs.
We do have day jobs, and I also do several other podcasts.
Yes.
So there's that as well. All right.
Let's get my trident.
Yeah, we're gonna get in it. Let's get into it. We got a good amount of stuff to talk about, and then we actually have we talked about this, Ben, off camera, but we want to do some live stream stuff.
Yeah.
We still don't have our shit together. Just overall, we're still kind of working on how to do everything. But we'll get there, and we'll probably do Sea of Thieves because we're gonna talk about that today.
Yeah, we're back to the Zoom tonight, but we'll get back to the video clips and get some gameplay and some live streams. But,
we're definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, and for our abbreviated show tonight, we'll keep it simple.
Yeah, and not just that. We really don't have that much to screen share today. Like there aren't trailers and stuff like that. Right. But I did get good feedback on the fact that we did have trailers, and I think we'll don't worry, we're still going to bring that stuff back in.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. The first story, and I think this is just there's nothing official yet, but this was hinted at, and I don't remember the exact words. I don't know, Ben, if you can pull them up here, but I know that Dead Space is rumored to be making a return. EA has been hinting at a returning IP. They used, I believe, the keyword dead in the statement that they made, and that's why people are making this assumption. So far, I hear that kind of the rumor is that it's going to be remastering potentially the old ones, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, there's a new one. For myself, I actually haven't played these, even though they're right up my alley, and we brought this up on one of the previous episodes. So this is actually a perfect opportunity for me to get into this, especially if they remaster it and give it a proper. And we saw what they did with Mass Effect, so I would not be shocked if we have kind of a large package of the game that rolls all three of them together. Releases a $60 purchase. Ben, I bet you were incredibly excited about this.
I am. I love the Dead Space. Dead Space 2 is my favorite of the three. I'm not I'm not like a horror guy. I don't play a lot of survival horror games. So I played Dead Space 1, played Dead Space 2 multiple times. Dead Space 3 I thought was better than most people give it credit for, especially with the co-op. I think we're going to see a combination of like a remaster and maybe a new game, like a remaster in the short term, and maybe like 2023 we're shooting for a new Mass Effect. What they released was that that there was going, well, it actually wasn't a statement, but EA Motive was allegedly working on a revival of an established IP,
right?
And then various insiders put together the pieces. They started dropping like coy hints, and it eventually came out that it was 98% going to be Dead Space.
Yeah.
But as far as whether that is going to be a new game, or I guess the leading rumor is a reimagining of the trilogy. Don't know what that means. Maybe it's Mass Effect 1 story with components from Mass Effect 2 and 3, because the gameplay significantly evolved in 2 and 3. 3
Are you talking about similar to Mass Effect? You mean?
I'm sorry, did I say Mass Effect? I meant Dead Space. Yeah, that's my fault. The Dead Space 3 evolved the gameplay in significant ways with customizing weapons, because it's really like engineering tools, which is one of the cool parts of Dead Space. And there was like open hub worlds where you'd go out in space and fly to different parts of the space station.
Man, this game sounds right up my alley. It's crazy how you played it, right?
You would love it.
I know. You've been talking to me about it for a while, too.
I think 2 you would really like, but you can't play 2 without playing 1, and it's a whole big thing. But I don't think there's anywhere for them to go with the story if they wanted to continue it. It's kind of, I don't know if it's like closed out entirely, but 3 started getting off the fucking walls. So I don't think we'll see a Dead Space 4 continuing Isaac Clarke's story or whoever's story. I think we'll see either a reboot or some sort of distant future or past, or Yeah, maybe complete retelling of the game with different mechanics.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll even tell us. Like, I could totally see them being like, "Here's the remaster, and we're working on another one in the series."
We'll get one
right?
of those montages we got when they were working on Mass Effect Andromeda,
Oh,
where they were
God.
like,
God,
they showed people doing
so
like CAD renders, like in the background, walking through the office, and
that was
like
awful.
they showed nothing, but they're like, oh, it's that's not a trailer. That's not an announcement.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the guy who rebranded EA Montreal into BioWare Montreal. Pretty sure he was fired after that. I forget the guy's name. But after Andromeda, he lost his job.
It did. And I don't know the background behind it. I don't know whether it was well deserved or not. I mean, I played Andromeda.
I mean, he rebranded a studio.
Yeah, that happens.
It is, but it tells me there's some fucking going on foot. Like you were trying to sell something that wasn't there.
EA Motive is a rebranded studio, I believe, as well. And they're the ones working on this. Yeah, the original studio, Visceral Games, that made all the Mass Effect games, was recently disbanded.
Smart, great move.
Yeah, very smart move by EA, and that was Jade Raymond's studio.
And that was with Sony, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, she's with is she with Sony?
Sony or Ubisoft?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up in the background.
Okay, yeah. So she was leading this single player Star Wars game made by Visceral. And if you listen to Gary Whitta, he's on the Kind of Funny Stuff a lot. He talks about that he's friends with her and he saw the game and knows everything about it, and it was ridiculous. And they canceled that, closed the entire studio down. And then they have Respawn release a single player Star Wars game. So it really didn't make any sense. And clearly their priorities have shifted since the release of Jedi Fallen Order. And they've seen how some of these, remasters have done, and survival horror is back with the Resident Evil 2 remakes and the Resident Evil 7s. So I think they're okay with investing some money in something like a Dead Space revival.
Yeah. And honestly, I think EA is, and by the way, it is Sony with Jade, and she came from Ubisoft. That's where it was as well. Ubisoft, and then EA Motive as well. But to your point, I mean, I think, look, there was a whole push against single player games. Remember that? That was like a few years ago where they're like, oh, single player is nonsense. And you could just tell that's a complete analytics move. Like you guys don't know anything about games. You have no idea why they exist. You have no idea why people follow them. And I said all the time, the brands that don't have a story, they die out. I mean, they die out. Like Halo is going to be a success, but the story of Master Chief is what keeps that brand alive. Not just the online alone. As we see, online can come in and be disruptive just by having a solid engine. So I think it's EA trying to make up for their past mistakes. I mean, it's kind of obvious. They screwed over some of their best studios because, on paper it wasn't exactly what they wanted. And yeah, they still have FIFA, who's like number 2 in sales every month. But it's like you can't just tear apart talent. Like I still go back to the fact that Rational Games, and I don't know who's responsible for that, but they made a great game and they still got disbanded. And I think they like kind of broke even there.
Which game are we talking
about? Irrational with BioShock Infinite.
Oh, BioShock.
Right.
Okay,
I mean, it took them 7 years, but again, that's kind of common for a game that complex. And it's just like a shame. Like now they want to bring back BioShock years later, and it's like, well, would have been nice if you still had the studio together and you still had Ken Levine working on it. There's your gold. And we'd be dying for it at this point, right? So I think it's the same thing here. I think they're going to release this package to reignite interest, to gauge, and to see, because they probably haven't built out too much of the Dead Space game if they are making one so far, right? It's probably, like you said, like 2 years away.
It would depend if we're looking at a remaster or a new game.
Reimagine. If they reimagine the previous story, right, and they do what Resident Evil is doing with their older, which I love, by the way. Yeah. Resident Evil 2 is awesome, and I can't wait for 4, even though they delayed it. That is a way to like really take that game and just build up the franchise just right up top. Over again. And it can be this long, robust game. I mean, they can, from what I understand, right, they can make like a 50 to 70 hour game using all 3 together, right?
Yeah, they're pretty beefy, especially because you don't move too quick. So I don't think they're going to release all 3 at once. If we see anything, it might be a BioShock
Oh, interesting.
I just don't know. There's different opinions going all over the place, but BioShock 1, a lot of the not BioShock, the Dead Space
Dead
1.
Space.
Yeah, clearly I haven't slept much.
Yeah.
Well, we were up all night playing Sea of Thieves, and then Dead Space 1, part of what made it so special was its slow paced, unique gunplay, dismemberment of the enemies. You didn't actually have a gun. There's no guns in the game. You have engineering tools that Isaac Clarke, who is the engineer on the Ishimura, he fashioned into something like a weapon. Yeah. So that's the whole conceit of the game, and it just takes you a while to get through it, and you're moving slow. You're checking these bodies on the ground because they could all spring to life at any time. So, I mean, the time is a relative thing. On if you change the gameplay around where it's faster and more like shooter-like, then maybe the game's only 6-7 hours. Where it would have taken you 14 before.
Okay, well, maybe that's why if they do combine all three, like if it's a reimagining, they would probably benefit from making it one large package potentially, because I don't think they're going to charge $60-$70 for a remaster, right? Unless it's a full reimagining. I mean, they could get away with it. I mean, but again, it wouldn't go with the theme of the Mass Effect game, because they put work into Mass Effect, right?
They did. Mass Effect 1, they put work into. Mass Effect 2 and 3, not so much.
Yeah. And I remember playing Andromeda. I mean, that's essentially the FIFA engine. That was a Frostbite. I mean, if you even watch the way the guy runs in Andromeda, which the gameplay actually wasn't the problem with that game. It like literally moves like an EA character, like the running, the turn, the tightness of the turns.
Are built on Frostbite. I mean, there's a lot of stuff built on Frostbite.
It's a good engine. I don't have a problem with it.
The gameplay in Andromeda was fine.
Yeah. It just didn't have any personality. And it was just dumb beyond that. But yeah, going on Dead Space, I mean, I'm excited for personally. Let me ask you something. As far as like scary, would you put it on par with BioShock and like The Last of Us, like level scary, or would you say it's like a step above that?
Way above. Especially the first game.
Because psychological thriller as well.
Yeah, it's more psychological, especially as the games go on. I don't want to spoil anything because these games are coming back, but part of what makes the game special is what is happening what's happening to Isaac across these games is causing actual trauma to him. And it's a lot of psychological, he's fucked in the head, basically.
I like that.
And it's not just, PTSD or anything. Like there's actual shit that as a result of what he's gone through in these games is causing him to have a lot of problems, and they manifest in the game with whether he's hallucinating or he's having emotional outbursts of people that, he once loved. And so
because he's in isolation for most of the game too, right?
And the first game he's alone completely.
Yeah. And then it gets co-op.
The third game he has co-op, and the second game there's other characters, but you're not around them that much.
Okay, fair enough.
And some of them you're not even sure are real in a lot of these games.
All right.
So I think it's it's a very scary game. It's a very disturbing game, especially there's a moment in 2 that anybody who's played the Dead Space series will remember. And it's a gameplay moment that you cannot avoid. You have no choice. It reminds me of something at the end of The Last of Us, where there's, you have to do something you really don't want to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Not for the same reasons, but so it's more akin to the Resident Evil games, the actual horror games, than I think anything else.
Fair enough. So when was that date? Did they have a date that they said that?
July 22nd, I believe.
Okay, so it's coming up.
Yeah, we got a month.
And honestly, I'm pretty excited for that announcement. I think that's
I'll be tuning in.
Yeah, that's a good one for EA. They needed. I actually loved EA growing up too, and they've fallen from grace quite a bit over the years.
They go back and forth in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to our next topic. We'll try to keep this one a little short, but I think we both have a good amount to say. I'll touch it and then I'll open up to you, Ben. So Windows 11 has been announced. As of right now, I believe the free upgrade will be available in 2022, but they'll start selling it on devices in 2021. I believe that's the case.
You're correct.
Yeah. So we are going to start seeing it. There are leaked versions of it on the internet. If you need to, search stuff, there's plenty of content available to see. Pretty much a nice redesign of the front end of it, and then humongous gaming integration. It's really why we wanted to bring it in here. And then maybe the biggest things are Game Pass will be a centerpiece and built into the OS this time. Android apps will be available, and then there'll be new technology in there that allows for better loading time for gaming. Right, utilizing I forget the technology, but it utilizes DirectX 12. And Ben, correct me there. I think I'm
direct storage.
Direct storage. Thank you. Yeah. Direct storage will be built in there as well, so that will speed up loading time substantially as well. So you could tell they're making a push. And I was actually just watching a video on it, and they want to be the open platform, right? They want to be the opposite of what Apple is, and they want to embrace that. Ben, what are your thoughts on this? And then I'll share mine after.
All right, so I'll try and keep this as succinct as I can. I know I'm pretty verbose usually, but so a couple things. They really push the gaming stuff in this, and you usually don't see this kind of thing with an operating system release that gaming is centerfold. They even brought I'm forgetting her name. She's the VP at Microsoft. If you can look it up for me, they brought her on to talk about Game Pass and how that's going to integrate. And they talked about direct storage and auto HDR and all these gaming features. And Microsoft, they usually kept Xbox and Microsoft separate for a very long time. Excuse me. Sorry. And you're seeing a new
Bonnie Ross.
Yep. And they brought her out. You're seeing a different Microsoft that's really putting gaming in the forefront. And the last time I remember even games being mentioned at an operating system reveal to this magnitude was, I think, Vista, when they did games for Windows Live.
Oh, don't jinx it. Don't jinx it.
I know, but they've really pushed gaming. So
yeah.
I said I was going to be brief, so I will as much as possible. So I'll go down the list of the key features. So auto HDR.
Right.
Is a way of applying high dynamic range to games on the fly without having to have special hardware, without having to have any special monitors, anything like that. And it will be unique to Windows 11. Direct storage also limited to Windows 11. I think I brought this up a couple episodes ago. I thought that this was going to be at E3, but they saved it to here. So this is similar to. Yeah, this is very similar to technology to how PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X achieve such fast loading times. Basically, what it will do is it'll give the GPU, the video card, direct access to the NVMe SSDs that are running through the PCI Express rail of the motherboard. So these NVMe SSDs are they look like RAM chips almost, because that's really how fast they are, and they go on the motherboard. And normally they still have bottlenecks when they're going through the processor. So it doesn't matter how fast your GPU is, how fast your storage is. They still got to go through the processor, then off to RAM or CPU or whatever. Direct storage gives the GPU, which is also on the PCI Express bus, direct access to this memory to use in any number of things, whether it's caching shaders or levels or all kinds of stuff that normally takes a long time to do, even on these fast SSDs. So it will be available on most PCI 3.0 SSDs, not the newest, latest, and greatest. I think I have two PCI 3.0 NVMe SSDs in my computer that I cannot wait to have this feature.
Oh yeah, same.
Load times are already like seconds in this, and to be able, it's not just load times, also it's caching shaders that are used for a lot of rendering in these levels that can be loaded instantly instead of having to have the CPU load. So direct storage, huge. They've been talking about it for years. Going to be awesome. Game Pass was at the forefront. Game Pass cloud gaming is going to be available in Windows. Actually, it might be available in Windows 10 right now, but they pushed it. They showed it on Windows 11. Any Windows 11 PC will with a Game Pass Ultimate subscription will be able to stream every single game that's on there. You're talking all the EA games, the Maddens, the FIFAs, all the Xbox first party games. You have some garbage ass netbook that can run Windows 11. Yeah. You can play Halo Infinite with somebody on a high end gaming PC. You're going to be a little laggy, or not, a little latency, but you'll be able to do it. You talked about Android apps. I'm still curious about how that is going to work. The Amazon App Store is who they chose to partner with.
Yeah.
Not the most robust store.
I think I know why, right? Because they're going after Chromebooks in general. From what I saw, right. Chromebook sales have been like through the roof.
Absolutely.
Recently, right? So I think they want to tackle it, and they obviously are building a partnership with Amazon. And I thought about this too, Ben. Amazon has a game studio.
They got in the game, but they canceled their most recent game.
Right. But again, that means they have a studio. It means they have developers, and you see the way Microsoft's been partnering with development. Maybe they have something in mind there too for the future. Build trust, and then
it's weird to see them partner because they are direct competitors of one another. Azure and Amazon Web Services are like
crazy,
the biggest competitors in the web services game. They're basically the players, and then you have Google Cloud as well. But it's really, at least
my enemy type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. In my world, it's either are you going with Azure or are you going with AWS? It's never
absolutely.
It's never. Yeah, we're using both for different things.
Do you think it's maybe a case because I think I even saw that Microsoft was like, they're like, hey, we'd love to get iMessage on our machines. Do you think it's a case where like Google doesn't want to work with them?
I honestly, I don't know. I don't think they approached Google. So Google, so if you've ever seen like a Xiaomi phone or a one of those other, not a OnePlus, but some of the other brands that are Chinese phones that are not Google Play certified, Google is very specific about where they put their Play services on and the data they collect, and they have certain requirements, like they can be the only app store on their devices and stuff like that. And I don't think Microsoft's willing to play that game.
Yep, that's a great call out. Actually, it's a great point, and I think Amazon's probably a lot more willing to partner. And because I don't know, it just maybe Amazon's just like, hey, we're a retail company, like we're comfortable doing this. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't disrupt our business model as
or they're
much
getting
as Google.
Do some kind of decent cut out of it.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, actually, that may not be the case, because another part of this whole thing they announced is that if you are releasing your app on their revamped App Store, Windows App Store, they will be taking a 12% cut of games instead of a 30% cut of games, which was industry standard. The Epic Game Store is 12%, and that's what they're matching.
I was going to say, I believe that's what Epic does. Yep. Yeah.
And
that's
in addition, that's for games. And in addition to that, if you release an app or a program on the Windows Store, they will take 12% unless you use your own transaction engine. So if you do your own credit card processing and your own payments and all that stuff, no cut. If you use, they're charging the 12% for their back end of running the payments and doing all the billing and all that stuff.
Company.
So yeah, you write an app, you can release it on the Windows Store. If you have your own, whatever box or Square payment services or whatever, and you use that, Microsoft gets no cut. So you're doing it for free basically. And then Square gets your 1%. In addition to this, they're allowing packages, Win32 packages to be bundled and released on the App Store. So right now, when you download games off the Microsoft Store, sorry that I'm rambling on about this. I do want to sleep tonight.
We did it short.
When you get a game on the Microsoft Store, it's like a universal app or a universal program, UWP, I think it's called. And the EXEs are not accessible. The INIs aren't accessible. It's like this. It's like an Android, an iPhone package almost. Whereas you download a game through Steam, you've got a folder. It's got all your files in it. You got the EXE. You can make shortcuts. You can modify the game. You can do all kinds of stuff. So that they're no longer requiring games to be repackaged like this and transmitted. So now developers don't have to have a Microsoft Store version, a Steam version, an Xbox version, and a PlayStation version. They can have a PC version and a console version. So the Steam version will have the exact same files and updates and everything as the Windows Store version.
And to that point, it does seem from like there's more features we can go through, but obviously we'll go long. But it seems like they're reducing redundancy in general, right? They're getting rid of tablet mode, right? And they're just building touch features in there. They're getting rid of the live tiles. They're getting rid of the resizing the start menu. They're getting rid of the ability to move the start menu all around the screen. It's like they actually are making some decisions where maybe people think that's restrictive, but it's probably going to make things a lot easier to standardize that baseline, right?
Well, they see. I'm sorry to interrupt you. They see what everyone does. Like they get the metrics. They know how many people resize their windows. They know how many people
dumb that shit down. Yeah. We don't need all these feet. Well, that's the one thing where I'm like, all right, I love what they're doing, but are they trying to tackle a little too much? I mean, maybe they're right about everything they're doing. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big Microsoft fan. But I do worry that they're like, hey, you come over and you come over and you come over. And it's like, it's so aggressive that I'm like, are they going to be able to handle this humongous transition? Because I can tell you from my company, they definitely threw us off with the Windows 11 announcement because they're like, hey, you guys told us, because, obviously we work directly with Microsoft, especially a company the size of my company. And we're like, hey, where's this coming from? But I do understand that there are security packages built into this also.
They require you
what they were doing before. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the main requirements that's giving people a lot of problems when they're trying to install the dev preview. You can install this 100% legally. You just go into Microsoft, you go into your Windows Update, sign up for the Windows Insider program, and it'll just push an update to your computer. I almost want to
build a computer just to try it out.
I almost did it on this computer today, and I remembered we were recording tonight. So
dude, you're gonna it's gonna create problems though. It's not ready.
You can use it. Sorry, what did you say?
Security.
Security. So one of the main things that they require is called TPM 2.0, and TPM is like it's something that manages like encryption keys inside of your computer, and it's a very secure hardware issue. Or a very secure hardware device, and it's utilized in their BitLocker encryption. We use it at work, and they're requiring TPM 2.0 to be turned on the computer in order to install Windows 11, which is a bold move. This gaming PC I've had did not have it turned on. I had to actually go in my BIOS and turn it on.
I heard about that. So it's going to force a lot of people to do that.
Yeah. It's just good. It should be on. And
right.
They want to make it. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. And then after 2025, when they stop supporting Windows 10, that's going to be on you.
Yeah, but it's plenty. Honestly, it's maybe not for a company like mine, but it's plenty of time for the average consumer to transition.
You know how I work. I don't know how long it's going to take.
Well, that's what I said for consumer. Businesses on the other hand, but they're obviously doing this for a reason. And I think they're in a position where they kind of can get away with this. You know what I mean?
They have the muscle. They could say, do it or don't. It's your decision.
It's your dude. People are not going to, and let's not move away from the fact that Microsoft Teams is not going to be the integrated chat.
Yep.
And that is a humongous move. I can tell you, my company, we don't use Teams. At least enterprise wise, we have it. Like I have it on my computer, but it's not the enterprise tool we use.
We use it exclusively at work.
And there are a lot of companies that do, like Pfizer, obviously a humongous company. They use it exclusively. This is an aggressive move to be like, hey, you better get on Teams. If you guys are using any other supplementary service, you're wasting your goddamn time. And I can tell you, I shouldn't give away too much information, but there's stuff going on within corporations where they don't necessarily want to pay for Teams. Teams is expensive. It's not cheap. Nope. So they're going to force people to pay the extra money now. This is honestly, I have to say, Microsoft, their aggression and what they're doing in all facets, I'm super impressed by it.
Services, man. They saw the services game early.
Yeah.
And
they saw what Zoom did.
Yeah.
I mean, they saw like I
literally even before that.
Yeah, but Zoom became like a brand. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to Zoom you. They don't want that. They don't want to say I'll see you on Teams.
Yeah.
That's what they want to see. And that's going to be built into your OS. And I would not be surprised if we see a lot of Apple users start playing around with Windows 11. Like for the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with the Android integration. That's going to pull people over in general, especially engineers who are primarily using Mac. They're going to be like, well, this is interesting, So I don't know. All right. We should probably move on. Anything else you want to say on Windows 11?
No, super excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. It looks clean.
I would love to install it and give some feedback next week, but it would be like reviewing alpha software. It's really kind of a pointless thing to do.
Do you really want to put that on your freaking main computer though?
I don't care. Whatever.
Fair enough. You can always just reboot it.
I got cloud saves.
Yeah. Oh God. Why people text me at this hour for help is beyond me.
Nobody wants to talk to you, dude.
Dude, you'd be shocked how many people want my fucking help on a regular basis.
To talk to you. Nobody wants your help.
I wish that was true, Ben. I really do. I miss being the lazy kid in high school. That was easy. That was easier. All right, let's move on. This is some big gaming news.
This probably should have been our lead story, but
yeah, probably. But honestly, this is a pretty good point. And then I guess we have all like Sony news in a cluster here, anyway, kind of. So Sony purchases Housemarque. That's amazing. I'll go into the next part afterwards, but Housemarque obviously just released Returnal. They have Resogun, they have Helldivers, they have other games that are escaping me at the moment.
Super Stardust.
Essentially, this has been a high tier indie studio for a while, top notch studio. Now they've moved their way into kind of the AAA space with Returnal. It has been, I would say, I don't know if it's a home run, but definitely from a production quality has been, and it's garnered a lot of interest, to be honest, right? And it was a launch title for PS5. This is a huge purchase for Sony, I would say. And it was hinted, kind of rumored for a while. And clearly, a reaction to what happening in Microsoft to some degree. I don't know if fully reactive, but this is getting competitive and I like it. On a side note to that, it was kind of leaked that Bluepoint has also been purchased. It's not official, but apparently it's been released to some degree by accident.
Yeah, it's by Sony Japan.
Yeah, and Bluepoint is responsible for a lot of ports. They're a third-party port kind of studio, but obviously this probably means that either they're going to be working on large remasters that are first-party exclusives, or they're working on something in secret. I think there was 21 games that have been like exclusives coming to PS5 over the next couple of years. So this is a pretty big deal. Ben, hit me.
Yeah, I'll start with Bluepoint since we're there. The last like 5 years, anytime there's been a remaster that Sony's announced or anything like that, and you hear that Bluepoint is doing it, it's going to be quality. They've done the Uncharted collection. They've done the Shadows of the Colossus. They most recently did the Demon Souls remaster. So excellent port studio. If they have in fact been purchased and this deal did not fall through, Sony Japan, when they were just supposed to announce the Housemarque acquisition, they tweeted out the picture with Housemarque and Bluepoint by accident and immediately took it down and put the one that just had a Housemarque up. So either they were supposed to both close on the same day and something happened, or the Bluepoint deal fell through. But Bluepoint's a great studio, and they pretty much worked exclusively with Sony for the last couple of years anyway. So, which leads me in my next point. I was kind of half surprised that Housemarque was not already owned by Sony. I kind of thought they were a first party studio because they typically just do Sony games. Some of their games do come out for PC.
Do you think because it was like they're a smaller studio and Sony's money could essentially fund their entire game as it is, so they didn't even need to really be purchased necessarily?
I think that's exactly what it was. I mean, they've done only arcade games.
Right.
As far back as until recently, twin stick arcade games.
Wasn't it Sony's idea to upscale like Returnal to turn into like a bigger game of some sort?
So they were working on a different game, and then Sony gave them buku money and said, we want you to make a first party like launch game almost for this, and that's how the Returnal came out. They also put up a blog post a few years ago. They put up a blog post in 2017 entitled "Arcade is Dead," where they basically said, people aren't buying our games. They make these amazing, critically acclaimed games, these twin stick shooters that are tight and beautiful, and people aren't buying them because they don't have these stories, they don't have multiplayer, they don't have this, they don't have that. So they basically said, we have to go where the money is. We can't keep doing this and throwing our head to the rock. So I think if you look at Returnal, it's very similar to these arcade twin stick shooters, and I think they were going away from them. And then Sony said, how about we supplement your beer money, and you go back to do it for us. So I think they released this in 2017, said, we're done making arcade games, and Sony, just when I'm about to get out, they bring me back in. And I think it paid out for them, and Sony saw what they could do. And as a direct reaction to Xbox buying everybody in the world, they knew they could afford Housemarque. Right. So they decided to buy them. I think this is a excellent purchase. They probably got them cheap. I don't think they would have been relative cheap compared to what like ZeniMax cost. If at very least what they will get from Housemarque is a group of designers that know how to make tightly controlled, tightly playing video games. The controls are what they do. So I think anytime you play a Housemarque game, they never say, the controls got in the way. If you die, it's because you died, not because, the controls weren't tight enough or weren't reactive enough. So I think that expertise is going to lead them well.
Don't you think this reminds you of like the purchase of Insomniac back in the day a little bit, where Insomniac was making good games, and then Sony was kind of like, hey, they're gonna. I think it was around the time they released Spider-Man, if I remember correctly.
It was right after they did Storm something for Oculus.
Okay, it was. They had like an instinct that it was possible that like Microsoft would have probably tried to buy them.
I don't think they would have sold to Microsoft. I think their relationship.
They had a partnership with them.
Close. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think they after they released Spider-Man. I mean, that game got a lot of attention.
Yeah. Whoa. So what do you think this is doing to the industry? You have two companies that are basically shelling out money to try and absorb all of the talent under two umbrellas like this.
Content is king, man.
Yeah, but you're going to see a day where, Xbox and Sony directly control all the talent. Like it's great, but it's great that these, I don't know.
I don't think that will actually happen. I understand why everybody thinks that could happen, but what I really think this is like they're kind of going to war with each other. So they're like buying up like army divisions. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, we're gonna need ammo. Like we need constant games every year. What I think it'll actually produce is like allow other smaller studios to kind of step up and take like Housemarque's place. Or like these studios that maybe because the indie market's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So I think what will happen is that these guys, they're just elevated into first-party studios. And I think we saw how many great studios have closed. Because what happened was, right, we had this large divide of these AAA and indie, and all those like middle-tier studios are gone. Mm-hmm. But Housemarque is like a middle tier. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So I think this is actually them taking a step back. They're taking a step back, to being like, hey, we kind of need some of these like between AA and AAA games. We don't. And I think it was before Ryan. It was the last president of Sony. I forget his name.
Jack T.
Yeah, maybe it was Jack Trenton. The one that said that that they have games that like we can't really continue to build these like.
Yeah, he basically said like we can't spend $150 million over 6 years to make a game anymore.
Exactly.
We need to spend $15 million over 2 years to make a game.
Exactly. And Housemarque can probably make a game for $25-30 million.
Correct.
That's probably like Returnal that will sell well and, keep them relevant. And then you look at Bluepoint, right? And what I know Bluepoint didn't make this one, right? But look at Demon's Souls, the remaster, that game did really well. They probably are figuring like, hey, we got a large backlog. Oh, they did the recent one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So
that was them.
Exactly. So it makes complete sense, right? Like these two studios that they used as launch titles, like they're like, hey, we need
like this is your proving ground, like, but
and it'll be part of whatever Sony's service, which is coming. I mean, without a doubt, they're going to rival Game Pass somehow.
So as a response to Microsoft, I think this is a weak one. And I'll tell you, I
don't know if it's a response. It's like loading up almost.
So you have these two studios. You have Bluepoint, who has done remasters exclusively for Sony for the last 8-9 years. Now they do things exclusively for Sony. Then Sony had to pay them to do that. And now you have Housemarque, who has done things exclusively for Sony and a couple things for Sony and PC for the last 10-15 years that now owned by Sony. So these two companies weren't making games for the competitors anyway. They weren't making games for Nintendo excuse me, they weren't making games for Xbox, where you have Xbox buying ZeniMax, who has the biggest multi-platform games in the entire industry that are now exclusive to their console. So Xbox has lost nothing.
No.
From these.
Well, that's what I said. I don't think it's like an attack on Microsoft. I think it's more defense. Like, hey, like, don't go anywhere, guys. We got something in the works. Like, I think they're buying these studios up. It has to do with long-term strategy to the full PlayStation ecosystem. Like the effect of what they're doing, we probably won't see for, maybe 2-3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be like today, like they bought them so they can like attack Xbox pack. Like Microsoft is kind of winning the day, and Sony is obviously letting them, and they're going to respond to something. And they're very good at doing that. They've done that in the past, especially when Microsoft screws up. But there's no doubt in my mind.
They haven't in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, they have great leadership in comparison. I mean, bringing in Phil Spencer was, just for Xbox alone, was brilliant.
Greatest move they could ever could have made.
And
that dude's awesome.
Yes, I mean, Sony still is doing very well, but again, only in this current playground. So it tells me that they're seeing what's happening. They're seeing what's going on with PC game, and we're gonna be talking about that as well with Ghost of Tsushima. They see what's happening with PC gaming. It's the largest gaming market. Something is happening here. You know what I mean? They bought Gaikai years ago. They didn't forget about that. They paid billion. I forget how much they paid, 1.2 billion or something like that.
I don't even think it was that much.
Really? I thought it was $1 billion.
I think they bought Gaikai like 10 years ago.
Yeah, maybe I'm
way. They bought Gaikai in
how much was it? Yeah, it was a while ago. How much they pay for it? You remember? I thought it was
$380 million.
Oh Jesus!
In 2012, dude. 2012.
Yeah, it's crazy. But look how great of a move that was. That was a very forward-thinking move.
Yeah, but Microsoft is just slaughtering them in this remote streaming game. Then they had the head start. Gaikai was the first.
But imagine where they'd be without Gaikai.
Oh God!
Do you see what I'm saying? Like they at least have PlayStation Now to repurpose, and they have a double the subscription base of PS Plus. Right. Plus the humongous library of games that they did provide you. So if you're already a PS Plus member, you have 200 games. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just sitting there for free. So they could like activate that library plus their exclusive library, then just upcharge you for your PS Plus, you know what I mean? Yeah. Whatever they want to call it, add their streaming service in there, and boom, all of a sudden they have something to compete. So they're and provide that on PC, right?
Hopefully they got it. Hopefully they're getting it ready.
I imagine they will, but I don't think we'll hear about it quite yet, but Sony's working on something. All right, let's move forward because we are obviously already falling behind. Let's go to Kerbal Space Program is done.
"Quote unquote" done. Yeah.
Yes.
So I threw this on last minute.
Yeah. Go ahead. This is your specialty. I've never played it. I know about it.
The Kerbal Space Program is a game that's near and dear to my heart. I remember. I don't know what podcast he was on at the time, but Anthony Gallegos talking about.
Shout out to Anthony Gallegos. I haven't heard that name in a while.
I know. He was talking about this game in early access, the Kerbal Space Program, and he was just talking about all the craziness. So I downloaded a pirated copy of it, see how it went, and I think I got like.
You purchased it now, just so everybody's aware.
Oh my God. I think I got 20 minutes into it, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm buying this game. Like this is going to do it for me. And I bought this game immediately. I've got over 300 hours in the game. Some of my it's taught me so much about orbital mechanics and delta V, orbital insertions, all gravity assist. Like there's these concepts in physics that I was never the best student in the world, as you might remember.
You both, brother.
But like these complex complex mechanics of space, and something I've always been interested in, and it broke it down into like a really awesome game where it was not easy. It took me, I think, maybe 40 or 50 hours to land on the moon or the Mun. And that wasn't like an achievement to any of the Mun. There's the whole solar system to explore. And I landed on the moon. This latest update, 1.12 on Final Approach, it's done according to them. This game's been modded to hell and back since it came out. So the mods will continue. Kerbal Space Program 2 is in development with Squad, who is a Mexico City-based company. You don't see a lot of game companies in Mexico, and they were not originally a game company. I don't know what they did originally, but a couple of their employees, they had a program where you could spend like 5-10% of your time doing something else. I think they were like a finance firm or something, and they brought this game to them and said, "Hey, I want some backing for this," and they took a chance on these guys, and they have been rewarded.
It's my healthcare company to start making video games.
So some awesome stuff they took that they released. I know this won't mean a lot to a lot of people, but they have bundled in the alarm clock app to the game, which was a mod from the very beginning of Kerbal Space Program 10 years ago, however long ago it was, 9 years ago. A maneuver node creator to plan out your transitions to different planets and different solar bodies, and all this quality of life stuff that they put in here. They have not stopped working on this game, even since it was sold. New parts, new engines, new bug fixes. They have not stopped working on this game, and it was well worth the $20 I put into it in 2015 or 2014.
Wow. No DLC, nothing, no pay.
Oh, DLC, no paid DLC if you got in early. If you got in early. If you bought in early access, if you bought it before 1.0, you got for life.
So you did.
Yes. And even if there was DLC, buy it. It's a great game. You can build moon bases. You can build anything you can think of in space. You can build.
Is there anything they're hinting at for the next game? Have they released any info on it?
Yeah, they've shown some stuff. It's really basically just a newer Kerbal Space Program, better graphics. It looks like they're doing more with bases and science, and you can go to other planets and do. Yeah, it's man, the stuff that I used to build in this game.
Elon Musk porn.
Like huge, like rockets that were like physically impossible in like the natural order of the world that would work, so I could get to the moon. Like stages upon stages upon stages, and usually sometimes it would just blow up for no reason. You wouldn't know why, and you'd launch the exact same rocket again. And
sounds like life, bro.
Yeah, man. Kerbal Space Program. I cannot wait to. I always talk about when my kid gets a little older. He's gonna be playing Kerbal Space Program. That's how I'm gonna teach him about space.
I work a little bit with this company called Variant Games. I just shout out to Andre Thomas. He actually used to work for EA back in the day on Madden, and they make educational games. I'm going to try to maybe get him on this podcast. They make educational games. I actually just hooked them up with Fazio and Nerd Street Gamers. But they make educational games, and it's like, you think about what you're talking about with this Kerbal Space Program. It's like, educational games exist. They're just hard to play. You know what I mean? Like, this game isn't for the faint of heart. Like,
it is not easy. No,
right.
If you want to get into orbit, that's an achievement.
Yeah,
you can't just strap a rocket and get into orbit. I mean,
that they got to start pulling this stuff into school. I mean, like, how many physics classes would make literally learn physics more interesting?
So, I took some programming classes at Montgomery County Community College. And logging into their computers, they have Kerbal Space Program on them. So they clearly, I couldn't get into it. It was some kind of class, some kind of educational version that they used for classes. But
a bunch of
like, there's different concepts in this game. Like I'll be like, when I mention the term delta V to somebody, they'll like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, this is what it is. Since this game now has taught this term to me. Or apoaps and periaps, and
I mean, I always loved history, and I mean, I talk about Age of Empires all the time. Like, Age of Empires when I was younger, like, taught me about history.
Yeah,
like, it literally did, and I think that is the best way. Like, me, I like violent games, so throw some violence in there.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, make it real, and let's get it going. All right, let's keep moving because we're already falling back, way behind our initial goal.
I was promised an hour so I could go lay with my wife.
Well, she's going to have to wait a little bit longer and then maybe divorce you after this.
Yeah, whatever.
Right. So we'll get it done quick. Okay, so next one. This is a rumor on Game Rant, but I did hear this in another location. I just couldn't remember where I found it. So God of War Ragnarok to be... revealed. Thank you, spelled incorrectly in our document, to be revealed at the PlayStation event. This is a rumor, but wouldn't be surprised. I mean, obviously Sony sat out of E3. This is one of their big, we don't even know Ragnarok is even the name for it at this point. I wouldn't be surprised we get something, a little bit beyond the teaser that we got, which was a nothing teaser trailer, which was completely unnecessary to show. They honestly shouldn't have even shown us anything, and maybe should have revealed it now. It would have been a bigger splash. I do suspect that it's coming, and it's coming soon. And it's the one way that they could really steal momentum away from Microsoft, because this exclusive is such a powerful one, especially after the last God of War, which was an exceptional game. This is what Sony still has, is they still have these exclusive titles that have the cachet and have proven to be exceptional in Game of the Year candidates, where, Halo was kind of a letdown, in the previous version. Starfield, nobody's ever played. Fable is still sitting there out in the ether. You know what I mean? Like, the exclusives from Microsoft, they're not on the same level yet. I will say yet, or have fallen behind just throughout time. So this is a big reveal. Ben, do you see this happening?
Yeah. I think this is just an educated guess. I don't think they have any sources. Yep. I don't think they have anything inside. I mean, this game was supposed to be out this year, allegedly. So I'm sure they have something. And yeah, you're right. Sony needs to show something. During the summer of games. You'll see a lot from them. I don't think we're just going to. I think we'll see a lot of original games.
Gameplay or cinematic for God of War?
I think it's a gameplay. I think they show the game off.
It's going to be the same engine.
Yeah, I think the game will be out next year. It was supposed to be out this year. I think they have something to show.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's just an educated guess. This is Sony's one event that you think they're doing this year.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see something.
I personally am extremely excited for the next God of War. As excited as I was for Last of Us 2. I will say that. Actually, arguably even more excited. God of War left a really good taste in my mouth, so I'm like pretty pumped for it. All right, let's move on to Ghost of Tsushima. So there is a rumor that is coming to PC. I think it was listed by mistake by Amazon, if I remember.
They changed the box art.
They did.
They changed the box art from only on PlayStation consoles to nothing or something like that. Yeah.
And honestly, it makes complete sense to me. I know there were rumors. I remember Colin Moriarty was saying that he was thinking it was God of War. I think Ghost of Tsushima makes more sense. I was actually thinking that at the time, but I'm terrible at predicting. But I do think that this move makes sense. It's a brand new IP that didn't exist before. There's money to be made on PC. It also sold really well. It's a gorgeous game. It's been out for less than a year at this point. So if they release it soon, that's a very aggressive move. And that goes back to what I was saying. Ben, I really hope that this is happening because I super want you to play this game.
I know. Another week goes by and Yariv tells me again, I got to play this game. I'll play it.
That good.
I'll play it.
Yeah, it's better than Days Gone. I'll say that.
I think it'll be out for PC soon.
I think so too. Yeah,
I don't think it's a question. And yeah, I will play it when it comes out.
Is it the same engine as Horizon, or did I make that up?
Don't have an answer to that.
I think it is. That's not sure. Is it?
I think so.
The other thing is it's a newer engine, right? So it's probably easier to port to PC, is my guess as well. But I don't know. I could have just made that up off the top of my head. All right. Oh, are you looking that up, Ben?
Trying to. It's a proprietary engine.
Okay. All right. Well, either way, let's hope Sucker Punch does it. Again, I if they release like a super high-end version of it for PC, I might honestly repurchase it. It's that good. All right. Let's move on to related news to it. Ghost of Ikishima has been announced. This is not a rumor, but it's going to be coming soon. This is a standalone expansion to Ghost of Tsushima. I am extremely excited about this. I'm definitely going to play this game day one and probably 100% it because I try to 100% Ghost of Tsushima as much as I can. Yeah, it makes sense with the announcement for PC. Maybe they'll release just one large package for PC at the end. I'm pretty excited for this. Again, the game is great. I believe this is the island of Ikishima, so probably be maybe a standalone story. I imagine it's still going to be the same character, but moving on to another island, probably a smaller one than what you had before, but more killing, more taking down bases, more fighting off Mongols and whatnot. So I'm pretty excited about this. Does this make you want to play the game more? Do you think it's weird that they have like an expansion, like a standalone expansion? Oh, and by the way, this has online, which we haven't discussed at all. It has a Legends mode, which is like a co-op wave-based. I hope it has crossplay, quite frankly. Like if you have it for PC and I have it for PS5, that'd be awesome to be able to play it, because that's definitely something you and I would play.
Yeah.
And I heard it's very good.
Yeah, so it's hard to have an opinion on this because I haven't played it. There's Games Radar is reporting that a Twitter user who's had some confirmed leaks in the past said that the Ghost of Ikishima is an expand-alone type game, similar to Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So, and similar size and scope. So that's what you're looking at, is basically a full game reusing a lot of the same assets and maps.
That's fast too.
Yeah.
Like, how are they getting that out so fast?
It's probably supposed to be DLC. I'm sure they've been making it for a while.
Look at what Nintendo did with Breath of the Wild, which is like, that was supposed to be like a quick part
Nintendo's its own thing.
Oh my God. It's unbelievable. We're going to be waiting for that game forever. Though I'll wait forever. All right, let's move on. We're doing good. Now we're doing good on time. So let's keep moving forward. We're just going to mention this briefly because neither one of us really played this earlier, but Legacy of Kane Remastered is rumored to be announced this year. This was a big franchise back in the day. There was a video even of a leak of a next-gen Legacy of Kane, which looked really cool. It looked like Shadow of Mordor. So I do think if there's a remaster here, maybe there is some interest in bringing this brand back. It's a pretty unique IP, and open world games do well, story-based games do well. So it's just something to look out for. I'm sure it's probably going to come out at some point in the near future. And I wouldn't be surprised, and I would consider checking it out when it does come out. But again, if they're remastering it, I want to see like beautiful graphics and stuff. I don't want to see the same game from back in the day. You have any thoughts on that, Ben?
Never played it back in the day. I know it's a franchise that is well regarded, and with how Xbox has been examining ways of bringing in their old franchises and bring things back, I think it's natural that we're going to see this.
Yep, I think so too. Again, go into the old bucket of game. They have so much money to throw around.
Well, yeah, they have all these IP or all this IP, these IPs. They have IPs to pull from.
Yes, they do. So. And I was just looking at the game sales list earlier today. Like, Minecraft is still what an investment by Microsoft. It's still in the top 10.
Yeah, was it like half a ZeniMax? How many ZeniMaxes did they pay for Minecraft?
I have no idea what they did, but they're smiling ear to ear because it definitely paid for itself. It literally dipped down in sales from 7, or it was at 8, and then it went up to 7 in sales. Like, it's going up. Around the holidays, it'll probably go up again. Like, it blows my mind that game is so successful. All right, let's move on to. We're just going to touch on this because, quite frankly, there's not much clarity on this story. But Blue Box Studios, or whatever the hell this thing is.
Oh, Kojima. Okay,
Kojima Productions, aka Blue Box Studios, aka Hassan, aka Kojima, whatever.
Fake Hassan.
Yeah, so they had 2 more videos released. Hassan released a video, kind of claiming that it's, that they're a small studio, that they're legit, that they're real. And then they also a highly produced video from a third party company that all have worked with Sony. Yep. Honestly, still I don't buy it. I'm sorry.
They are a well-known studio.
Yeah, and I believe they worked on Death Stranding.
They work on everything.
Okay.
They work on everything.
Okay, fair enough. So maybe that's not specific enough.
They are not cheap to work for.
They do good. Who is this guy?
They've worked on every major game, and then all of a sudden they're working on this.
Well, there's also rumors that Kojima might be working with Microsoft. I feel like this is all like literally. I would not put it past Kojima to do all this. I know people think it's like crazy. The way the guy operates, why wouldn't he think about this 5 years in advance?
He's done it before.
That's what I'm saying. This is what he does.
He's done it before.
Look how much buzz has been talked about something we don't even understand. It's like stuff.
There's a YouTube video that Hassan claims is fake, a YouTube channel that has a countdown to when this game is supposed to come out. The countdown timer hits 0, and then Hassan tweets this video out about how, why is it timed
in the middle
exactly?
Of the night? In the middle
of the night in the Netherlands.
Japanese time.
And he's on a gray background. You can't see shit. Like, we don't even know where he is. Like, sit in front of a window. Let's see the capital of the Netherlands. Like, whatever that is. I don't know.
There's too many weird coincidences. I don't want to sound like a crazy person, but like,
and where are these employees? Yeah, we are a studio. We are this. We are that. Who's we?
and all of a sudden, and again, you have almost no history, and PlayStation is building you guys up, and they didn't say a word about it.
Nobody said a word.
PlayStation's not going like,
and he keeps
not real.
Fake bullshit. Hassan keeps saying, we want to do a Q&A to answer all your questions. We want to do this. We want to do that. It ain't that hard.
Already.
I could go on 4chan right now and do a Q&A. Like, you could go on Reddit, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. Go on Snapchat.
I will say PlayStation likes to utilize mystery in general, right? So maybe they like it. Maybe they like the plan. I will say, if this is Kojima, it's freaking brilliant.
And if it's not,
God bless the group who try to take advantage of this and the waves of hate that their game will get Metacritic bombed.
It will never come out. It will get attacked repeatedly.
Oh, Jesus. So let's be honest. Nobody really knows exactly what's going on, but I can say nobody's buying the official story, at least, or whatever Hassan is saying. Some people are kind of defending it, but nobody has any idea what's going on. But all right, let's move past that. If we have more clarity, we'll bring that up in future episodes. All right. We're going to touch on one more thing here. And again, I brought this game up before. So Kingdom Rush, they just released the Legends of Kingdom Rush. I haven't been able to play because it's for Apple Arcade, and I'm honestly pretty bitter that
you wanted to talk about Apple Arcade, right?
I mean, I'm kind of bitter that they want me to pay $5 a month for a game that I just want to pay $5 once to own, and I don't want any of the other games that they have to offer.
Yep.
So I don't want to pay the monthly for a service. But Kingdom Rush has teased a brand new game in the tower defense circle, and that gets me really excited. And it looks to be more a Fallout 4 type, because they like to play off of themes of popular games. Like they did that with StarCraft, with Iron Marines. They did Warcraft with the original Kingdom Rush games, and now this is seems like maybe a Fallout type of thing. They really showed a very brief little tower defense thing. They like to do that, but I love these freaking tower defense games. They're so polished. Again, they're not a free-to-play model, so you buy the game straight up. You can buy characters additional, but they always give you free heroes included. I always buy one hero, but I personally love these games. So they're really well-balanced, and I've put hundreds of hours into them collectively. So I'm excited for it, and they're available on PC as well. I'm just excited for that. Ben, you said you signed up for Apple Arcade.
Yeah, so I have a work phone. That's an Apple phone. Sorry, I'm losing some juice here. And I'm usually an Android guy, but there's a game that came out that I wanted to play called Star Trek Legends, which looked awesome, and it's a turn-based battle game similar to Pokemon battles, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Star Trek characters throughout history.
Spaceships?
No, it's people. You go on missions. Different characters, different dialogue. It has a whole overarching Star Trek story. Really good game. Clearly designed as a free-to-play game. Different currencies, timers, things. And the game was modified last minute to work on Apple Arcade, where it's a subscription and you're not allowed to have in-app purchases in Apple Arcade games. Everything has to be within the subscription. So that's a good thing, I guess, when you think about it. But the game was not designed that way to begin with. So it's weird when I'm sending my guys on an away mission, and then I have to wait, 2 hours for them to get back. But I can spend this currency to make them come back faster, but I can't actually get the currency because it's a pay-only currency. So there's no way to get them to come back faster.
So they broke the game.
The game's broken. Great game, though. I mean, they have a solid game. I think it was changed at the last minute.
They took the guaranteed money.
Yeah, I get it.
Can't blame them.
So yeah, this company you're talking about, what are they called again?
Ironhide.
They remind me of a company called Gameloft.
Yep, I've heard of Gameloft.
On Android, they released they have a modern combat series, which is basically Call of Duty. They have a series.
Yeah, that's why I think I've tried that. Yeah.
They have a series called Nova and N.O.V.A, which is basically Halo. Asphalt 8 or Asphalt 9 is Need for Speed. So similar to that, they take these established franchises and build on it. But I played Iron Marines. Your suggestion is pretty good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a StarCraft clone. It seems to be like of its own thing.
It's a theme. They take the theme of the games.
Yeah, these are more clones with Gameloft. But I'm interested in it. Apple Arcade, I like its in concept, but like when there's a game I really want to play,
I just want to buy that game.
I would
give
pay
me the option.
I would pay $50 for a mobile game. Like but I can't.
That's what I don't understand. Why don't I have the option? Why? Like if I want Apple Arcade, I'll pay $5 a month. If I want to pay $10 for the game, I'll give Ironhide $10 for the mobile game.
Yeah,
I would have done it. I was like, I don't want to sign up for your service, and I don't want your Apple library. And I know what they're doing. I mean, I work in product. They want to get you in. I brought this up last time. They want to get you in, and then they want you to forget about the fact they pay. And then you're like, oh, well, I can't get rid of it because I don't want to stop playing this game. But I just want to own the game.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I hope that this isn't something that Kingdom Rush as a franchise is moving into overall, because I own all of their games and I don't want to. I'll sign up for the service to play the tower defense game. At the very least to play it, but I won't keep it forever. And I play those games throughout time. So I'm not giving you $5 every month for a game that I paid $5 once for. It's like, I don't know. It just seems like a ripoff. So, all right, let's move forward.
Move into what we've been playing, I guess.
Yeah, what we've been playing. Let's save Sea of Thieves for the end since we're both playing. So I'll go through mine really quickly here because mine haven't changed too much. I'm playing through Last of Us 2. I was planning on moving on to Final Fantasy VII Remastered. I did play a couple of hours of that. It was exceptional. The game looks unbelievable after the really better than Advent Children. It makes me even more excited for Final Fantasy 16. I fucking love Final Fantasy VII. I will be replaying that game, and I will beat it, and I will buy the Yuffie DLC as well, and I'll play that as well. But Last of Us 2, I'm playing it after. Obviously, it was like kind of upscaled for PS5. God damn, that game is so good. It really is. Like, it's not a perfect game. I still like the first one more, but I can't stop playing it, man. I can't stop playing it. Like, the story is still tough to play, but the gameplay, I love the scavenging. I love the enemies. I love that you choke a guy out, and it's so hard. It's such a harsh freaking game.
Yeah, scratching at your face while you're
choking. Dude. Yeah. And like you feel like, I mean, it's terrible, but you feel like you're killing living things. Just the polish of that game is it's so good. And Abby as a character is starting to grow on me. It's all converging together. I'm not looking forward to the ending again. You know why, Ben? But I'm probably gonna beat it again. I just can't stop playing it. So definitely, if you guys have not played Last of Us 2, if you get caught up in the drama on the internet, ignore that shit. This is a very, very good game. There's no reason not to play it. And even some of the stuff that you thought might upset you probably won't. That won't be what upsets you about this game. Like, it's more of just a difficult emotional roller coaster. And it's one that I think if you love story-based games, you just have to experience for yourself.
There's a lot of context to the first game.
Yes. And
like consequences of your actions.
Yes. And I would not be surprised if the next story they make pulls another fast one on us. Like, especially with the Fireflies and, a lot of these groups, like there might be a whole new character introduced again. You know what I mean? And it might pull another fast one, just because there's almost like no real good guys in this world.
Oh, there's definitely not.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there's another kind of element that they throw in, with like the Wolf group or whatever, find out more about them and whatnot. So that's what I'm playing. And then again, we played Ghost Recon together. I like that game, but again, I said this last time, it's just too big for me. I probably won't. Ubisoft's game design, it just drives me nuts at this point. All right. What are you playing, Ben? And then we'll
played some more Days Gone. Love that game, man.
So good.
I don't know if you remember, there's this part where your buddy Boomer, he's getting sick and he's like hallucinating.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to take him to get some medicine.
Yeah.
And you put on a bike and he started driving and this music came on and it was playing this like country music, like as I'm driving down the road.
Yeah.
Man, I was like, I don't know. That's just, it was
Red Dead 2 had moments like that too.
It was just such a great moment where it's like, this feels like a movie. Like, this is what would happen in a movie. They'd be talking with this somber music in the background as you're riding. It timed out really well to when you actually arrived. And that was a really cool moment getting through that game.
It's a good game.
Yeah, I'll get through it. State of Decay 2 had a new patch. I don't know if you played State of Decay 2. State of Decay, the original, was one of my favorite zombie games.
Is that the online one?
It 2 has online play. It's it's like open world, janky ass game,
Yeah,
zombie
that's
going
why I
around
avoided
different
it.
buildings, and excuse me, and I
It
cannot.
wasn't polished enough for me. I remember that's
It's
why I
definitely
skipped
not
it.
polished. Neither is two. It doesn't matter how many patches later, but they added a really extensive patch that changed the whole game world around basically.
Oh,
So I was playing through that a little bit.
that's cool.
Yeah, I love those games. It's like a zombie survival
I
simulator.
Yeah, I love that stuff too. I do remember I thought it would be one I got into, but
Mm.
when I saw how janky it was, I don't know. I guess with all the other options, I just kind of stuck with what
And
I
now
already
that
play.
that studio was a Zombie Labs, they've been bought by Microsoft a while ago. So State of Decay 3 with Microsoft money.
Polished version.
They've already announced it. They showed off a cinematic trailer that was bullshit last year.
So I'll probably
So
play 3.
3, I'm sure, is gonna be great.
Yeah. And I'm sure it'll
Outer,
have a co-op mode as well, or some kind of
for
online
sure,
element that we can
for
play together.
sure,
So
for sure.
should check
Outer Worlds. I played a little bit more of Outer Worlds, and I actually
I do
texted you
want to play
about
that.
about a moment
Yeah.
in Outer Worlds, man.
Sorry. Yeah.
There,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a part in the first like level, I guess you can call it, the first world you're on, where I came across a decision. It was like after the whole thing, like in Fallout 3, when you had to decide whether to like blow up Megaton, the city, or let
Yeah.
it survive. And
Yeah. Yeah.
my options were to divert power to one place or another. That was the option. Or don't divert power and just steal something. There's other ways of getting through these levels. You don't have to just pick the binary choice. But I thought I knew what I was going to do, and then my companion said, "Hey, before you make a decision, can I talk to you?" And I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, talk. You can also say no or shoot her in the face or do whatever you want to do. Yeah. But I'm like, yeah, let's talk. The game is hilarious. First of all, so we talked, and like it gave me like a new perspective on my decision. I sat at this screen, and it was like, who do you want to divert power to? And I just 10 minutes I'm watching the screen, like trying to figure out like there were no good options. I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like these people are better to give them the power, but I'm condemning all these other people to death basically. And do they really deserve to die for like a corporation's mistreatments and all this stuff? And eventually I just did it. And I'm very interested to see if there are consequences to my actions.
Oh, this makes me want to play this game, Ben.
My companion was not thrilled with me. But when I did it and I went back to the location where I diverted the power from to take this piece of technology I needed, the whole town was dead, basically. Like the people were alive, but they had no electricity, they had no food, they had no jobs, they had nothing.
Oops.
And I did that, yeah. So interested to see how it goes. I did not expect that game to give me.
Should have just shot the bitch in the face. And
I could have. You can kill them all.
That's crazy game design to be able to do
and
that.
Yeah, and I ended up having to fight like the person who gave me the quest initially. It is, but I had to fight him because he gave me a quest to do something, and I ended up condemning his town to death as a result of him asking me to do him something.
You know what? That's a great, like, if you think about what you just went through, like that makes me want to play the game.
Great. It was very unexpected experience from a game that has like dick jokes and
I gotta play this
like
game.
Crazy stuff, like just funny stuff where the one guy said he's like, yeah, I'm responsible for my employees' burial costs because I'm the closest living relative. And he's like, you were related to the guy? And he's like, no, I was the closest living person relative to his dead body when it was found. So it's like, and I'm like, okay, like closest
relative proximity.
Yeah. So like that's the kind of stuff in the game. It's an awesome game. I'm looking forward to getting through it. That
definitely makes me want to play it.
You'd love it. Yeah.
All right. Well, actually, I just saw it on sale for like $16, and
I got it pretty cheap.
Yeah. So that's going to be a game I have to play. All right. Let's move on to the game we're playing together.
Sea of Thieves. I want my fucking trident.
Yeah. So Ben and I have been playing Sea of Thieves, and we had our buddy Warren joining. And then I think we're going to get a fourth for the next game. We'll see who that is. And that game is fun. That game's
so fun,
really fun. We actually had a big bounty in the middle of the ocean, and we attacked a ship, took the ship down, got greedy, forgot to fix our own ship,
jumped off
to get the treasure, and then we get back to our ship and we sunk everything. So
we're bringing the treasure chest back, and then the ship is just like vertical going.
But honestly, it shows how well designed the game is, that they kind of know that, right? That you get all greedy and jump in, but it's like, no.
All we had to do was check the damage.
We got too excited.
Yariv loves to drop the anchor at random times.
Yeah, dude. Oh, it's so fun.
Do Tokyo Drift.
It's like pulling the e-brake, you know?
The game was awesome. We had Oren driving us around, and then our fuckery.
Well, it's awesome how much you have to coordinate. You know, like when we get a fourth in there, like
we'll get a bigger ship at the fourth. Put the sails down. You know, you can't operate like a 4-person ship with 2 people.
No,
like you can't have somebody doing the sails, looking out over the crow's nest, patching stuff down below. Like during a battle, you need to have somebody bringing you ammunition or bringing cannonballs up. Firing on the left side, firing on the right side.
It encourages teamwork.
I fired you out of the cannon over to the pirate ship, where you immediately died.
No, I went way over it. I think it was.
That's right. Yeah,
I went like way over the ship, and I literally had to swim over. I died once I was on the ship, though.
Okay, immediately.
I got killed like pretty shortly after. I was surrounded by enemies.
Yeah, and then you wanted me to come follow you and avenge you.
Yeah. What a disaster.
I think next time we need to do more ship-to-ship battles. We got caught up doing too many like treasure missions.
Yeah, which there's not a ton of action on that.
I think that's our mistake. I watched some YouTube videos afterwards on like a newbie guides, because we made sure that was the 3 of us that never played before. We have our friend Richie, who's well versed in the game. We want to wait until we play with him.
Yeah,
because we just don't. I don't really want a directed experience. I kind of just want like fuckery like we did.
Yeah, it was great.
But I watched some YouTube videos, and then we were doing the wrong quest. Like there's different types of quests. There's like treasure quests. There's like pirate bounty quests and all this stuff. So we were looking at the wrong ones. So next time we play, I guess we're playing again this week. More combat. I want my trident, my Aquaman trident that shoots plasma. I want it back.
That was one of the treasures that we lost.
Yes. It was
we
awesome.
Like just got it too. Just got it.
Immediately got it. And then I was shooting the mermen, and I turned around, and
that's what makes it addicting though, too, is that like there's consequences. You know what I mean? Like they make it that there's consequences to dying, and then you have to start off certain, but it's also not too punishing in any sense. But it really does encourage teamwork. Like the game is designed to be like, you're going to get more out of this game playing with other people.
I think you have to. Yeah, we get on the ship.
Richie plays by himself.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Well, you can play with like a
little ship. Yeah.
But like you get on the ship, like, yo, Yariv got the anchor, like I got the wheel, Ben put the sails down, like everyone's coordinating, you're going.
It's awesome.
Or like, there's a ship like to our east, like let's stay away from it, turn north. And
you can have like a sniper, you can have like a more of a shotgun type of gun, and then you can have like the handgun is like the default, so you have enough variation within the teams too.
Yeah.
Oh man, we haven't met other people in the game. It would be nice if you could go above 4 players, like if you could go up to 6 or something like that. 4 I feel like I don't know if it's too limiting, but like we want to invite like a larger group, and I feel like it'd be really tough to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we may have seen another player. There was a ship that we saw in the distance that we kind of steered away from. That may have been another player. We can also like put up a flag that like alerts our position to all players, so like to invite them to come.
Well, there's a lot of systems in that game.
Oh my God.
I don't even think we got to everything.
No, not
that we have to offer.
No.
Yeah, we barely even scratched the surface, and like
we didn't do any of the Pirates of the Caribbean content.
Oh yeah, we haven't done any of it, and that's like pure story, right? Like we can go down a journey of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that will be a little bit in the future, because we just are getting money and everything like that.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
I thought about the initial missions.
Yeah, I thought about the game the next day.
I fell asleep to YouTube videos of like how to play. So, looking forward to playing some more. I think we're going to try and go to Thursday.
I wonder if this is a game that'll ever go free to play at some point.
I mean, it reminds me of No Man's Sky because when it released, it was janky. It was not a
Yeah.
lot of content. Everyone blew through it in 2 weeks, but everything they've released since then has been free, and it's improved the game. And it seems really polished. Like we got attacked by a giant, like purple shark monster
Yeah.
in the
The
middle of a
game's
storm,
beautiful.
and we were like, the
Yeah.
ship was going crazy. There's water all over the
Oh
place.
man.
We got drunk at one point.
I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah,
We'll have more updates on that. We're gonna play
I'm
with
ready to play.
more people. We're gonna start attacking and killing more people. But I'm pretty sold. I mean, I always like pirate games in general, but
Yeah, we'll get some footage for our next one.
well
And
worth the money we paid for it so far.
yeah, absolutely. Game
Yeah.
Pass game. I speaking of, I texted my cousin who I wanted to play with us last night or tonight. I don't even know what day it is. And I'm like, yo, do you have Sea of Thieves? No. I'm like, you got Game Pass. It's like, I do have Game Pass. Then you got Sea of
You got
Thieves,
Sea of
buddy.
Thieves.
Let's go. So,
And my buddy Aaron, who I think will join us on Thursday potentially, he's playing all through the streaming service. So he's
really?
he's doing all
that's
streaming.
Interesting. I would love to get that in and
Yeah.
see how it does.
His internet connection stinks. Is the only problem. He says he
That'll be
does
fun.
10 megabits a second. This guy works in IT.
10 megabit?
Yeah, that's what he said to me. I was like, dude, time to
Okay.
upgrade, dude.
It's working off that
And he's
3G.
he's hardwired in too.
Yeah, hardwired to like a Motorola StarTech cell phone.
Yeah, exactly.
1992.
He lives in Florida, so we'll excuse him.
Yeah.
He is from Philly, so maybe no excuses as well. Smart dude, though. Very, very, very smart guy. All right. I think that's everything we have to say. Let's see with Thieves, and then we can talk about close it up here in game recommendations.
Yeah, just our recommendations of the day.
Yeah, my recommendation: Command and Conquer Remastered. I bought it somewhat recently. I did put a good amount of time. They just did a great job with the remastering of the game. It looks gorgeous.
The graphics different.
It is. Okay. Like you can do the whole cycling between the old graphics and the new. It looks very good. It's the same engine. They didn't really. They fixed some UI stuff, but it really is the same engine. The game looks great. I mean, Ben, it's on sale right now for like $8 or something.
Yeah, Steam sale is going on right now.
Yeah, so
my game also is on a sale game.
Yeah, it's worth. Especially for $8. I mean,
yeah.
I loved the Command and Conquer games growing up. Like they got me into PC gaming, to be honest.
Look at this. Yeah.
I started playing them really early, and again, you get Red Alert, and you get Command and Conquer.
Okay.
So it's just worth playing. I mean, they're great. I haven't beaten them again, but they're actually pretty tough games. They're not designed like a lot of strategy games today with like a lot of additional help. You know, you really have to.
The AI used to cheat back then too.
Yeah, exactly. It's just difficult. It's like,
yeah.
But it's still I love the theme of those games. It's a very unique game. They built something from the ground up, and we were talking shit on EA. They closed Westwood Studios. That and obviously Westwood fell, but that was like my favorite studio growing up as a kid. I was like obsessed with them. But Command and Conquer games just kept getting worse. I would love for them to bring this series back, but do it the right way, and don't give me some bullshit China versus, don't do any of that. Go back to basics, give me a reboot, and go Command and Conquer original and reboot it with the Tiberium and the whole thing, and maybe some RPG characters in there, the way that like StarCraft and Warcraft does it. So buy the game, and let's see if EA will bring the franchise back, because I would love to see it. Ben, you want to go with your
my game recommendation, kind of a cheat because we talked about them today, but Next Machina, which is a Housemarque game. Get it on Steam right now for $7.99, 60% off. This is one of the few Housemarque games I played with next to Super Stardust, but twin stick shooter, high score chase, awesome levels, particle effects. It's a fast paced game. Awesome game. Their last true arcade game that they did. This game came out in doesn't say on their Steam page, but it's a couple years old. But I put a couple hours into it. Highly recommend it. You can't go wrong for $8. I actually saw on a Reddit thread of like hidden gems of the sale of games to buy. 2017 this came out. And I wrote it down to buy it, and then because I knew it was good, I had played it, and I go into Steam and I already owned it. So yeah, highly recommend it.
Nice.
Music's great too.
I like these game recommendations because I feel like a lot of these games get forgotten. We have so many games. Like, it's not like when we were kids. We're like, there's a game and everybody plays it. Now there's like a billion freaking games.
Every month. Really got to go off of somebody you trust.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Who knows if anybody trusts us at this point?
I don't know.
Probably
Who knows?
Not. Probably not.
I wouldn't trust us.
I wouldn't trust us either. What the hell do we know? All right. This was a good episode. We did do
under 2 hours.
Oh yeah, we did like about an hour and 20 minutes. So I think we're okay. And we moved a little slow. We could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, we hung up on the news. We said we weren't going to hang up on the news, and we hung up.
And we got hung up on the news. We got hung up on Windows 11, which obviously I'm sure everybody enjoyed. Yeah. All right. So like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Definitely share our stuff out. Like and subscribe. It's a huge help to us, especially if you make it to the end here. We don't have a lot of subscribers. We don't care. We're going to keep going this. We're going to keep building
things you like, things you don't like.
Yeah, definitely. And if you like the trailers and all that, we're going to try to do more of that. So let us know, especially if you make it to the end here. Ben, you want to leave our audience with anything else to say?
I need to sleep.
Ben needs to sleep. I need to sleep, and I got to edit some of this shit before it goes live. So thank you, everybody.
I don't know how you ever get any sleep. You got 40 podcasts going on.
I don't sleep much. It's fine. Look, you have a child burden in your life. I have podcasts.
He sleeps like 9 hours a night, 10 hours a night. You're the reason I'm up at night. It's not him. Don't blame the newborn.
And if you get divorced, that's what you'll tell him in court. It's Yariv's fault. You ruined my relationship.
Yeah.
She'll forget.
All right, buddy.
All right. Have a great night, everybody. And remember to always play on, gamers.